Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the T-44 here in a realistic battle that I immediately named The Dream, because there was one hilarious scene that lasted for, I guess, a minute that just... I have no words for how incompetent the enemy team was, or let's say a portion of the enemy team. In this case it actually involves not a single German tank, so I'm free to say whatever the hell I want. So, Kursk, one of the best maps. My goal is to go into C, capture it, go around this flank, see which kind of campers here are, capture B if my team has not done it, and then go to A. So CBA, that's my plan. And whatever passes my way shall die. The T-44 is a tank that a lot of people say is really bad, because it also has, seen tougher competition, and to a certain degree it is true. However, it has a really strong frontal hull. It can angle the hull. It also has a very bouncy turret and a fantastic 85mm gun. So here in the beginning you can see that I have actually the replay enabled, because I was in chat with some of the people and I just have some difficulties with clear recording while I'm on the Discord. And so far nothing spectacular has happened, but I now hit the T-92 in the fuel tank. He burns, and it seems like he doesn't have a fire extinguisher, because it seems like either he has burned down now for my first kill, or he has bailed out, either of the two. And this is now nothing spectacular. I'm observing the ridgeline, I'm observing the area where usually enemies appear. Here you can see the free camera spectator wise. I try to use it a little bit in this battle here, and there you can see in the bush there is a M22. Now, he hasn't done the God of War thingy right. He's not high enough in the battle rating range. And, the side armor of the T-44 is way too strong for such a tank. Maybe with some solid shot from the rear setting the engine on fire. But from the side, the T-44 is more or less like a Tiger II. Certainly more armored than a Tiger, because the Tiger has a 60mm armor plating behind the tracks, where you can actually more or less reliably deal with it with an SPAA. Talking about SPAA, one-shotting a Super Pershing. He actually didn't have the worst position in the world, but situational awareness, map reading and so forth is important. Now here you might not be able to see it, but there is a Tortoise. And this Tortoise is a tank that I do not bother with shooting. Not because I cannot, but because I'm chasing the Dream. This is now the Dream. I mean, look at this. Ridgeline campers. British and American tanks, just using the 20-pounder, hull down. They make the most use out of their quick rate of fire, APDS and stabilizer for sure. And my first victim is the M36, so let's remove the markers so you can see the picture like I have seen it in battle. And yeah, the lack of gun depression on this particular place is feelable. And we one-shot the M36. And now they're like, huh, what happened? What happened? One of us is dead. I focused the first Centurion Mark III, and this is now my fourth kill. The FV4-202 bounces on the side of my turret, tries to angle, but I shoot through his side anyway, because I'm using the APHE BC shell. And the other Centurion Mark III is completely oblivious, and I wait up until the wreck disappears, because he's the more dangerous target, and again I one-shot him. So nothing particularly special in, skill-based. But what the enemy team allowed me to do here, to wreck them from the side, is absolute hilarious. This is a multi-strike ×5, and there is actually an SPA. I run out of the APHE BC shell type. I use it because it has better normalization and just does this troll penetrations, which is actually the BR365A. And with 142 millimeters of penetration, it's like your T-34-85 rounds. The APCR has 180 millimeters of penetration, and the BR-367 has 159 millimeters of penetration. And I also have another APCR, technically, with 230 millimeters of penetration. And that was a multi-strike times 7. That's just absurd. And I didn't take any damage whatsoever. I captured C before that and cleaned their kills. The entire enemy team in this particular region was spawn camping from their spawn. They got punished and they were just completely oblivious. Those were the definition of bad players. And with this tank you just absolutely can execute such players. And now I speed up the replay and I go into A. No, I'm going into B and just simply am capturing it. At this point in time I was laughing so hard that I actually forgot to record. And the guys in chat actually kicked me out of the chat room. And at this point in time, I was then begin to record the normal recording of in-game play, and let's see how I managed to cut it. Let's see how it goes, and here comes the cut. Yeah, actually, there was not too much to see. So now A. A is the third capture zone that I have in mind, and there are still some enemy tanks left. However, I cannot see them. But you have to trust in Russian technique, in Russian superior engineering. Okay, that's better, stop it. But yeah, that's also an awful shot here. And I get shot by, you know, some 20-pounder from the British. But they bounce harmlessly off the front armor, which is sloped at an angle of 64 degrees. That is just awesome. Even Jagdtiger shells bounce on a regular basis. So now they actually have penetrated me once, and yeah, the Charioteer Mark 7s, of which there are 2, are now, you know, just doing their stuff. However, I try to find the range, but they are on the move. In the replay, which I also recorded up until this point, it's much more obvious. I tried to find them and range find at them, but you know, it's limited. However, I'm okay with this as long as I am bouncing with it. But you know, with just 2 crew members and the longer reloads, and that shell was actually pretty close, just miscalculated here by 100 meters. You know, you have a quite long repair, like a Tiger with a full crew. So feels bad, man. And we are now mobile again. And what do you do in a Soviet tank? You simply charge. You don't give a shit. You just go in. This is the second game that I played in the T-44 for a very, very long time. It still got it. It still got it. Do you have your problems? Sure, but there are so many other tanks at this range of battle ratings that also have difficulties. That this tank actually still got it. It has the mobility. It has one of the best frontal armors for a medium tank. In general at this battle rating range. It's just all around a fantastic tank, and it has APHE that just one-shots stuff when it hits it. Yeah, hitting is the problem, because you know, you actually have to be good with your aim, which I am apparently not. I was just still laughing so hard at this point in time that I messed up all the aim. It was just so glorious. how they really screwed that up. And you know, there was SBA shooting me from the side again, which I don't care about because of my 75 millimeters of side armor and 90 millimeters of turret side armor. The tank overall is just very good for me, and I like to drive it once in a while. I forgot it. I forgot about this tank and how awesome it is. And yeah, that was a bit of a shame because I wanted to get the clear shots. And just as I pull the trigger, the kill message comes in. And that was my last APHE round. I fired 20 rounds so far. Normally, you never need this amount of rounds. And I'm down to just an APCR amount of 4 shells. I think the SBA that I killed in the enemy spawn, I actually killed with an APCR shot. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. And so we are in A. And now we have to angle ourselves to the enemy spawn or to the expected direction. I'm getting attacked by aircraft. That seems like a Typhoon dropped some bombs. He misdropped them behind me. They had too much of a delay, so they didn't do anything to me. One thing that I can complain about this tank is the lack of a heavy machine gun on top of it, much like the T-44-100 does have it. But you still get the hits in and you still can fire with the main cannon. However, I missed the shot with the APCR. However, I hit him hard enough. And that Spitfire misdropped also pretty good. And there you can see him with the smoke trail. So at this point in time, I have 11 tank kills. 11 tank kills, can you imagine? He's coming around, but even the fantastic elevation of the T-44, which is way above 20 degrees. Let me look up for a moment. Yeah, 28 degrees of gun elevation. You can actually shoot that aircraft. If it's that successful or not is another question, but you see that Typhoon did me the favor of crashing, and those are 11 kills. 1 plane kill and 3 capture zones, and I am a survivor at bat rating 6.3. And people have complained about this tank being bad. Yes, thank you to all the British tanks and the American tanks who made this possible by continuously ignoring me, you know, harvesting them. I mean, there is no better word than, you know, harvesting. It is just a dream situation. Every tanker in War Thunder wants to be once in a while having an oblivious enemy team and just harvesting stuff. I think that was absolutely worth it. So without further ado, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and in Russian bias you must trust. See you on the battlefields of War Thunder.